So, hello and welcome. Thank you all for coming. Welcome. You braved it through the snow and the rain, and we're so happy you're here. This is the 6th edition of WERC's Artist Talks, which is the last of the first 2 seasons. So you might be thinking, who's that strange, bald English woman? Why is she there? I'm thinking the same. No. So my name is Rosie. I'm a dancer usually here in Groningen with Club Guy and Roni, but on the side, on the side, I also do a bit of hosting like this, where I get to ask artists lots of personal questions and kind of host this evening and I'm very excited to be here tonight with Francois Wunschel from 1024 Architecture, which is very exciting. So tonight's talk is interactive, so it works really well if you have a question or a thought or a reflection and you want to participate, just put your hand in the air and we will come to you. I will keep my eyes out. And if you're watching the live stream, then you can put your questions in the chat as well. So yeah, join in, it is encouraged, and do not be afraid. So first, I'd like to invite Joachim from WERC to come up here and give us a little bit of context for these artist talks. So yes. So let's start simply so that our dear public has an idea of where they are. Why did you start organizing these artist talks?
So the reason we started using doing these artist talks was because we were a couple of years ago we were working a lot of internationally. We were in Japan, we were in Indonesia, not to name drop countries, but and we were thinking, all right, we just in the process of buying the studio, so we were like looking back, looking at Groningen and at the community of like what's happening here in digital art and how can we contribute to that. So we thought, all right, let's then set up a couple of activities, a couple of events that can either show other people, hey, these are the names that we like have like think these are the best like artists that define what digital art is, and invite them over, so to introduce them to the people we know, but also so we can like learn from them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So you've done 5 of these before?
Yes, exactly, yeah. So I love this idea of having seasons because it feels very official, like we are a show or everything. So shall I give a little bit of a recap?
Yes, can you take us back?
Yes, so the first one was Dries de Poorter. I'm going to give a quick recap of what I found interesting about it. He was a very good first one as well because he's very, his work is strangely like commercial, and he's not afraid to make money, which I really like, and it really taught me a lot. Like, all right, it's good to make a little bit of money with your work, and really to go into that. The second one was Matt Adams from Blast Theory, and I think this is the one that I reference the most still, because he talked a lot about interactive art, and he talked about like, if I do something interactive, I need to have a damn good reason to let people actually interact with the work. Like, why am I asking them to finish the work? Yeah. And then we had Pablo Valbuena, who made his amazing light pieces in churches and projection mapping as well, like one of the earliest ones, together with our guest tonight. And actually, a fun thing, he and the moderator, they are now starting they collaborated now, and they're starting a project. So I don't know, maybe you guys, who knows? If you want to have a dancer. And then Nikki Asman, I think, was yes, very good. And it's just very good to have her here, because she had this amazing work here in Groningen, in the cellar beneath the Forum, which is this amazing flowing work, and to actually learn more like about her process, and yeah, it makes me appreciate the work that I see quite often, in a sense, like more, and the way she works, it connects as well with a lot of the nature stuff that we do as well. And the last one that you've been here from was Kimchi and Chips, which is like one of the 2 big names that we were like, all right, we need to have at least these people, and it was Kimchi and Chips, and of course Francois, but we will get into that later. But it was just so cool to have them here over, that we got the possibility. They came from South Korea, and it was just amazing to learn from them and to get to know them better. It's just such a privilege.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, well done. You did very well.
Oh, thank you very
that
much.
Was like, yeah, nice. So this is the, as we said, the last talk of the first 2 seasons of the Netflix special that is this. Will there be more artist talks?
Yes, so the last time we were here, maybe you remember, I said this is the last one, or like this one will be the last one, but in the meantime we got funding. Actually 2 days ago we were like certain you got funding. So yes, there will be, thank you. Yes, thank you. So yes, there will be a follow-up, there will be more. How and in what shape, I'll mention it. at the end, together with all the other messages and
blessings.
to be continued.
Nice, cool. So we will hear more from you later.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Thanks, Joachim. So I would like to invite Olaf up here as well to give us woo! To give us an introduction for Francois. And now, Olaf, word on the street is that you're a fan.
Yes. Yes, like Joachim said, there's a couple people that we really love to get here. And I was actually super happy finding somebody that said, oh, I have a phone number, and hooking us up. And not for, I think, the reason that some people, I see some students here, everybody knows MapMapper. It, I think, revolutionized video mapping, facade mappings, building mappings, everything with lights and weird shit suddenly was in grabs for everybody to play with. But I was a fan before that, because when we were still VJing, there was a software called Modulate, and mapping didn't exist. MapMapper didn't exist, but there was this other thing called Quartz Composer, and there was a forum, and there was somebody on the forum, and it was Frans, and he had a blog. This was in 2010, 2011, 2012-ish. Quartz Composer was one of the first node-based programming languages where you could build interactive stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
so
it was,
okay, so you know each other via your phone handles? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, I think so. And I knew I think through that forum I found the blog that Frans was maintaining. And he would release so many plugins for this software. And I think the very first keystone or mapping or warping stuff came in the form of plugins to Quartz Composer, straight to Modulate. Siphon came, like Vade Antomatini came with the Siphon software to share textures. All these little steps is the foundation on where so many softwares and pixel maps and LED maps and weird shit that you see nowadays is built onto. So it was really exciting for me to see that beginning, then have MapMapper come out and be like, oh, now it's fucking easy. You can just do it that way. But it also inspired me to build software because a lot of the tools didn't exist back then. I saw people starting to build these tools, and it really helped me to push those things as well. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what should I show and how can I hype 1024 architecture. And I only could find this one, if you can play this little thing. And this is mainly a joke, but this is Awakenings, I think it's 2014 or something. This is my desktop, I used to just play around. But why I took this, in there we have MapMapper, we have Modulate, and then I think this one's for you, like all the plugins that are in there. This one I think you'll find in the presentation, the system tools underneath there. All these things are apps that were feeding visuals into our shows, or I was just playing with them. So this was running on during these shows, and I thought it was just fun to see a little snippet of how many plugins you've sprinkled throughout the VJ world.
Wow, this is like evidence of you being a hardcore fan. This is
yes, right,
this
right.
is pretty creepy.
I thought so. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So do you have a favorite plugin? Is that, or is it? What did you?
Yeah, we were just joking about this, right? So I think the structure tools is my favorite plugin there because you can control the lights. It controlled just system messages going through.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know how to explain, but I think every time seeing the new stuff on the blog that you were maintaining, and then seeing those as weird ideas, and then seeing the software released to back it up, and then seeing like the snippets of, I think the one with the wooden, you had this giant wooden structure, it had lights in it, it had video mapping on it. It's still the opening thing to MapMapper, I think. So that one, you saw it come by on the forum, and then MapMapper released. And then we could all play with these things. So they were always leaving like little breadcrumbs,
Yeah.
and then you would have the software to play with.
Yeah. Wow. What an image. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Olaf. Very nice. Thank you. Great. Yes. So I will welcome Francois up to the stage now. So you've been yes.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the invitation and the kind words. Always appreciated.
Yes, you've had like the amazing introduction from your heart. Yeah.
Couldn't have better introduction.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to take a look at your projects and hear more and see a little bit of behind the scenes of all of these productions. I think that's what's quite special about this format. One question to open. Is there a process by which you get from having an initial idea and then getting to a first concept? Is that like you're in the shower and you think like, oh, that's what I want to do, and then you call up your collaborators and you go, well, where's the money? Like, what's the is that, how does that work?
So actually, how we have ideas at the office and within my company is that one project brings another project, and we are always bouncing from one project to the other. So we start with a cube, and it bounces back to something else, and the cube moves, and then the cube turns into a sphere, and the cubes come back within the sphere, and that's the whole point of this presentation that I'm going to show you, with some behind-the-scenes pictures, because WERC asked for behind-the-scenes pictures. And I think everybody's bored from corporate stuff and thing you can see on the internet, so I came with some pretty pictures, but not too behind the scenes, still watchable.
Yeah. Yes. It's always how far behind. Well, yeah. So should we take a look at some of the projects and maybe we can go from there?
Sure. So just to summarize, I've made 3 main sections into this presentation. The first project is our very first project, which is a signature project, the very first project of my company. And then we'll bounce on this idea of the first project onto something very different, performance projects. And in the end, we'll finish with the very latest project we do at the company. And I will try to do some storytelling about this stuff. And the first project that defines our company is called Square Cube. It's a project for a musician, Etienne de Crécy, French electronic music from the French Touch. And he came to us and he wanted to make a return. So he had no new albums, no musical actuality. So he wanted to come back with a scenography, and that's how we met, because we had this idea of scenography. Initially, I'm architect, and we started doing a video projection on architecture. And for this project, we had the opportunity to think about the architecture that would receive the projection. So usually for video mapping, you have a building and then you do the projection on the building. But for this, we could also design the building, the house of the musician that could receive the video mapping. So it will be really closely connected. So this is the studio of the musician, and it's all machines. So all machines are connected with MIDI, and the musician gave us only MP3s, okay? And he gave us 10 MP3s like this, and the first one is 126 BPM, the second one 128, and that's all we got. Okay, and maybe with a little note, okay, first we have a 8-bar pattern, then we have 2 8-bar patterns, then we have a 16-bar pattern, and then there's the break, okay. Okay, no problem. So we put that into our computer and we started making renderings. By these times it was 512 by 512. Okay, so half the resolution. And we started by designing models. So we went into the office and made a small scale model to make the projection, because by the time there was not really a video mapping. It was not well known. And let me play it. And this is the result of the projection on the model on the office. And so you see we designed a structure with scaffolding and with some netting that would receive the video mapping. and the projector was positioned in such a way that the perspective, the video mapping would leak between the scaffolding and make this perspective effect. But what we are projecting actually is a flat picture. But because the nettings are semi-transparent, you can see through it, and it makes the viewer think it's actually three-dimensional stuff.
I love this because for the crowds that were like enjoying this electronic music, this must have been so trippy because it's like you managed to make something very playful actually, this kind of Rubik's Cube that is projected onto the performer, if I'm understanding it right.
It was very trippy, and by the time actually the audience didn't know that it was video mapping, and everybody thought, yeah, it's LED, hey, they put LEDs everywhere or neon tubes, but no, this is just video mapping, and this is just a plain cross projected, but because of the perspective and the way the projector is positioned and the way the video goes through, you can actually feel it's like a three-dimension cube. It's not big, it's 6 meters by 6 meters by 6 meters, so it's a perfect cube. And it's a 20K projector. By the time it was the first time for the premiere, it was the first time we saw it with a real 20K projector, and it was the first time we plugged my computer on a 20K projector, and we were like, wow, this is mad, these projectors are so powerful, because we were used to, you know, home cinema projector for the model.
And how many people were there for the
For the premiere, it was like 10,000 people for the premiere.
And that was the first time you tried it?
First time. And because it was the first time, we didn't know, so there was no stress, you know. We came, okay, there's 10,000 people, okay, no problem. Let's do it.
Okay.
When people, so people didn't know before that it was a projection. So and you say some people thought it was less. So you think it matters when you told them before, or did it matter to you?
They didn't know. We didn't tell anybody. So they didn't know it was projection. They thought it was real lights, real neon tubes or LEDs. So they didn't know. But end of the day, doesn't matter. What's important is the emotion, the feeling they have. And by this time it was new, and everybody's like, whoa. And there were many, you know, the success of a show, normally you count by the number of wow effects you have. So it first start, whoa, 10,000 people, whoa, okay, we're going well. This is going very well. Like middle of the show, whoa, when the cube is moving, oh, okay. So you count how many wows you have, and we were very successful in the amount of wows.
Okay. It's a good model for, well done.
It's a good metric.
Yeah. So maybe we continue a little bit towards the...
Yeah, show a few other pictures. So you see the musician in the middle is like a house for a musician. So as an architect, the program was a house for a musician doing a show. Very simple. And this is a shot of the cubes moving. So that's why you see many cubes.
We have a question in the middle. If you
and this is the very first software I did at the office with Quartz Composer patches for this show, and there was no video mapping, so there was no corner pinning. It was flat. We had to do it with the position of the projector, so it had to be very precise. But we did this software because on tour we knew we wouldn't be with the team all the time, and if you leave a door open, the people, they will enter the door. If you leave the opportunity to have control over something, they will take the control. So we made the software so there was no real control possible. It's the software for the show. It doesn't do anything else apart from the show. End of the story. So apart from a bug within the software, we couldn't fuck it up.
It's very good, smart. I think we have a question in the middle.
Just from my understanding, with the cube, there's no cloth in the front, right?
There is a cloth in the front. Oh, you can see it there. Not on the square of the musician, but all the others, they have cloths, and there are 3 layers of cloths in all dimensions.
On the back one, how do you prevent
It goes through. But I cannot select on which plane now. it goes through. So I'm just projecting on the front, and by the angle, it can go through.
Ah, so there's multiple projectors, or?
One projector. You see, it's still puzzling for. So yeah.
I should also add, we will have a drink after this evening where you can like attack Francois with very technical questions, or more questions if you like. But yeah, feel free to also ask now. So you have more software to show us, maybe, or from here?
No, let's go to another project. So,
Okay.
so this was a project that we did for a musician, and the musician was touring. Actually, toured for 8 years with this project. So it's a very long time. And he toured all around Europe and all around the world, in the US, in Coachella, in Japan, in Tokyo. But for these big venues, and Coachella couldn't come with, because the flight is expensive, the hotel is expensive in Japan, and you need the visa and this and that. So I was like, hey, I did some work and the guy is touring around the world, but I want to go to Japan, I want to go to Coachella, I want to tour the world. So the only way I'm gonna be able to do this is by being on stage. Maybe there won't be 10,000 people, maybe 50 people, but who cares, provided I'm invited to go to Japan or to Brazil. So the next project I want to show you is the very first performance that got me on stage after the Etienne's show. And with a friend, we decided to make a real performance, okay, and spend all the energy on our own show. And we said, okay, let's make a triptych. And it would be a triptych about the economic crisis, about the problems of economy, because back in the days, it was the subprime crisis. And this was very strong and very problematic. And it was as big as the environmental crisis right now, because 15 years ago, environment was not such a problem. We didn't realize it wouldn't be such a problem as it is now, although it was. But by the time, it was the economic crisis. And as an artist, you want to talk about the problem, your everyday problem, and the problems of the society, but to give you a way of seeing it, of deforming it. So we said, okay, let's make a triptych about the economic crisis. And economic crisis always comes in 3 parts. So that's the euphoria, like the Bitcoin right now, it's going up, then the crisis, and then the recession. Okay, so we said, okay, let's make a show out of this. So in 2009, we started making this show, and this is in India, very, very fun. It was a show in 10 different acts, and this one is a guy with a light flute charming a snake. Okay, that's a show, that's the performance. Also made this neon guitars, so it's a neon tubes, the one from your kitchen, with a string attached to it, so it makes music. It's plugged on a guitar amplifier, and whenever I touch the screen, it lights the neon tubes and make a sound, and also trigger some particles. And you can see there are many screens, so we kept the idea of the former project with Etienne's cube to have different layer of screens to make a tri-dimensional picture. But we bounced on it and then made our own instruments. We're also performing with a Wiimote, because we are gamers and we like, joystick and stuff like that. So we put everything in this first project.
Yeah. And quickly, what's the difference for you seeing your work live versus being in it, performing in it? Does it feel different, or?
Yeah, I think it's very different, because when you're really performing it, you're not stressed. You're into the moment. You want to do it good. When you're at the front of house and the show is running, you're stressed. Hey, what if my computer breaks, melts? Well, what if somebody steps on the cable? What if it burns? I don't know. What if? But if you are on stage performing, show must go on. It has to go. Something will break at some point. You have to bounce on it. You have to find a solution. But live, you have to improvise. It gives you good energy. I love it. Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Also, as architect, we always have a saying. Yeah, we use the image as a construction material, and this illustrates the 3D thing of what I was talking about, and this uses the image as a construction material. So it's just nets, and it makes an architecture, and actually the performers are in the middle and make music, and the music is deforming the space. So we tried to connect everything. It was a very generous project. Again, the flute. And we also designed costumes that light with the music. Maybe I can show a little extract. So it's like a Star Wars show with laser sabers, lightsabers, and particles, and guitars, rock and roll. I won't show everything because we are very tight in the timing.
You have a lot of wonderful work to show. So yeah, so Crise is the second part of this trilogy, is that right?
This is the second part, so we played as bankers, you know. So we were wearing ties, but light ties that also turned into guitars, and always very, very generous.
Always guitars also.
Guitars, I love guitars. Who doesn't? You know, I love Jimi Hendrix. You know, and this we had the opportunity to tour in churches. So you know, I'm like this is me on the right side. I'm like a priest with my light tie, you know, making like a preacher. Okay. And my friend had this helmet with light bulbs. It's actually 220 volts going into the helmet. So if something would break, it would really fry this brain.
Yeah. I don't want to imagine the health and safety policy for this performance.
There was no LEDs by the time. And the last one is recession, more harder, more concrete, you know. But okay, I will go through. This is us at the office, rehearsing.
A credit defaults.
We are a big financial firm.
It's a credit derivative contract between two counterparties.
And I've done a bad job.
The buyer makes periodic payments to the seller, and in return receives a payoff.
20 million.
If an underlying financial instrument defaults or experiences a similar credit event.
1,000 times a minute. You could call it a casino.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see. Great.
And then it went on to some other shows that we did. This one is called Sphere, and this one is one of our latest show, fully generative with lasers and stuff. So we keep on doing this, but this is not really making money for the studio because we are not into electronic music, or we're not known. It doesn't make a lot of people come to see our show. So we do it for the love of art and the love of being on stage.
Yeah, yeah. Well. And because you're originally an architect, is that right? So you guys are between art and architecture in that space. Do you feel more like loyal to one or the other, or is that a horrible?
I feel like I'm surfing, you know, where the wave goes, and sometimes there's more opportunity in one field or the other. Yeah. So it's very opportunistic, but as an artist, you have to find opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. Should we move on to the...
Let's move on to the very fancy latest project we do at the office. And actually, it's two interlinked projects that we bounced on the idea to make one and the other project. The first one is called Lightwave, and we had this idea of sticking wood poles in the nature, outdoor, and using lasers to project on them. So we did some 3D renderings like that because we wanted to go on the economy. Because today we want to lower our impact on the environment. We want to do the same, but with less energy, less work. Not that we are lazy, but less effort. You know, less money maybe, and to be able to go in other spaces. So less urban and more into the countryside, more into nature. And this is a 3D rendering that we did also. So in my company, we do a lot of 3D renderings to visualize the idea first. So for this, we're using a game engine because we are gamers, and it works very well, because if it works like this in a picture with the rain and everything, because in Europe it rains a lot, you know that. And if it works in the picture, we almost guarantee it's going to work in reality, apart from the construction side of things. And so, as I said, I toured around the world quite a few times with the performances, and now I have kids, my associate has kids too, all the people at the office, they are having kids. It's a step in the life. And so now maybe I don't want to tour around the world, maybe I want to settle a little bit. And we had a little bit of money, but with that money, we could buy 50 square meters in Paris, because it's very expensive in Paris. And we had a lot of materials, and we needed stock, and in 50 square meters, you cannot stock anything. So we thought, yeah, maybe for the same price, we can buy 50,000 square meters in the countryside. So, okay, let's do this. So we bought this mansion. So it's the secondary office that we have, and we can throw parties there. We can do some landscape. We can go there with the family, with the kids. Everybody's happy. And when you work all week in Paris with computers, you're so happy to be able to work outside in the countryside, be under the rain, have cold feet. Then you make a fire, and you're like, that's my goal in life these days. So this is the place, and this is us making a fire, having a drink, making a pizza, because we have a pizza oven, and this place we can do some landscape so we started building structures and freeform domes, and we bought a lawnmower, okay, like a tractor, and with this we are trying to make designs by just cutting or not cutting the grass. So it's very rich in terms of creativity, because with just a lawnmower and cutting or not cutting the grass, you can do patterns and generative stuff, and it's very refreshing. And because the space is not classified, we can paint. Instead of doing video mapping, we can paint directly on the buildings. It's also very cool. And we have a meadow, and in the meadow we can do installations. And this is behind the scenes, because it's not installations we put on the internet, it's installations we do for us. So it's not a project that we are going to tour. This is some runes, ancient way of writing runes. Because monks invented a way to make numbers with runes from 0 to 9,999. Okay, so we bounced on this idea, and we made LED runes that work on solar battery. So it's in the middle of the field. There's no wire going there. It's just plain fun, and it's just a personal project that we do in the garden.
And this is really behind the scenes, because this is a sauna that you built, right?
And this is a sauna. Yeah. We didn't build it. We
Oh,
bought
it
it.
was there?
Yeah,
Okay.
we bought it,
Uh-huh.
and it's a mobile sauna on wheels. So because we never know what we're gonna do, so we thought, yeah, maybe buy a sauna that's on wheels, so we can put it there. If it's not the right place, we put it there. Maybe we put it there. So we still have the choice. There is a question, I think.
For public use.
Actually, it's not open for audience. It's our office, and that's the way we thought it would be cool, and it would match with having a family. So, and it would give us the opportunity to make some other kind of project, still digital, but maybe more connected with nature. And for us, it works because it's time we want to be more connected with nature, and who doesn't?
Yeah. But it's in France, right? We can't
It's in
just
France.
come.
It's Burundi, so they have some very good wine over there.
Yeah.
And we also shoot lasers at night. Okay, and but in Paris we do rendering. So this is a Unreal Engine rendering. It looks blurry and not so good. And this is a photo from an old phone. And for me it looks the same quality. So we're like, okay. there is some correspondence in this media, and you can see the poles here that we planted, and there is one laser shooting at the poles, and the laser has to be very precisely positioned so that each pole doesn't cast any shadow to the other, and we are able to. So it looks like easy something, but we had to model this into rhino, grasshopper, to shoot rays to be sure it would work, because we didn't really test, so we tested in the garden. And I will show you the final result. And it looks easy to do, but when you actually have to plant a pole in your garden, it turned out to be more difficult than we thought.
I was going to say, did you do that yourself?
Yeah, we did that ourselves.
Okay.
And the backstory is that actually the meadow, the ground is full of rocks. So first we started with a, you know, how do you call it, with a metal bar, with a hammer like in circus, but it's too tiring. After 1 week we had only 4 poles planted, then we went to the store and rented a mechanical machine, a driller, you know, but it's very tiring because it's a crazy machine from hell, you know, to make holes. Wow, so it was so tiring. And since we had the machine, okay, we thought, okay, no, we have a machine to make holes. Let's make some holes everywhere. And we planted a forest because we had this machine. So we took the opportunity to do holes here and there. So I have many holes in advance, so I can still plant. And whenever we go there, okay, we buy a plant and we plant it because the hole is there. Because in planting a tree, what's difficult is to do the hole.
Yeah.
The rest is easy.
So if anyone needs a hole, yeah, you can ask Francois in the drink afterwards. Good.
And
yeah, let's talk about this one.
And the thing is, it's very difficult to do the hole, and it's very difficult to position the thing, and it has to be very precise. And if there is some wind and the pole moves, you're doomed because the mapping doesn't work anymore. Ooh, so it's a lot of constraint. Actually, the Venice Biennale called us on a Sunday. Hey guys, we have this opportunity. Do you have a project in store? And we said, yeah, we have this project. We just did this afternoon. Look, okay, good. We take it. So we did it in Venice. Lucky as that. And the problem is the guys, they couldn't dig holes in the ground because it was a former military base, and there could have been some mines hidden in the ground. So we were fucked. So they had to build a structure. So the project was cool, but not so working.
But I thought in Venice Biennale, in Venice, if you make a hole, then you're swimming. That's like for the water. I mean, but
they have a place. They have a park actually that.
So actually, the mines were the problem, not the.
The mines were the problem, so they couldn't dig.
Yeah.
We pitched them. Okay, next year we can do it in the Laguna. Okay, but it also has some complications. So we thought, this is too complicated, and we thought about let's use a natural material as well. So not wooden poles, but bamboo canes. Okay, let's make a system. So that it's more convenient for us to do. So first we did the same thing using Unreal Engine to do renderings, test it. Okay, it looks like that. There's a light ray, and this is not map. It's plainly projected on the thing. So you just map the 4 corners. Much easier than mapping each pole. And if there is some wind, doesn't matter. So, and the projection of the laser doesn't matter. Okay, so, and you don't have to dig. So 3 problem solved, okay? So so this is in the computer. This is the model in the office. And as you can see, it's almost the same, even better than the computer. And you can see the countryside office, and it looks a bit like here.
It's
So
very similar, yes.
I hope you guys feel at home. And this is the structure we imagine. So it's steel structure used for construction material with little sticks, and we put the bamboo canes on the sticks. And this is soldered. And so for this project, I learned soldering. Great. One more tick. Okay, now I know soldering. Sorry? How big? This is 1 meter by 1 meter. And we have 500 bamboo canes in this project. Yeah. And this is the test with the bamboo canes. This is the little test. Actually, we did this project in Geneva, but they didn't want to buy bamboo canes. They had no money. So I had some friends run all over Geneva with their truck, and they were going to some rich people houses. They planted bamboo, and bamboo is an invasive species.
Yes.
So they want
Yeah.
to get rid of the bamboo. So
Of
it's very
course.
easy to find free bamboo.
Yeah, yeah.
Just go to rich people houses. They have bamboo. You go there with a chainsaw, and
Exactly.
so that's how they
Yeah, well,
got
that's the
the
thing.
bamboo.
Yeah, bamboo never stops growing. It's like it takes over. Yeah, great.
So I planted bamboo as well.
Okay.
Because I had holes. But the story is that bamboo are clones, and each clone species, when they fruit, when they make seeds, it's all at the same time. And I planted bamboos, and I have a friend who also have a bamboo grove. And this year they all grew fruits like seeds. And when they do that, they die. So all my bamboo, they died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. But now I have holes, so I can still do
Yeah.
something. So there won't be any invasion of bamboos,
No.
because they all died, because they were all clones from the same tree.
Ah, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a tip. When you buy bamboos, you have to check which clone it is. And this is the front of house that we have. So this is where we put laser. There's a laser on top. So this is a little kind of container that we negotiated, and we made this stuff in the middle of the meadow. This is me with the kids having fun over there, and we parked the sauna at this spot as well. So now we can do the laser programming while having a sauna. So it's super cool, and it's outside the house. So when we want to make a party, we can go there and do all night party. We won't wake up the kids. So that's also good to have an extra space for parties. And you can see the meadow, and you can see the first iteration with the bamboo in the meadow. And maybe you can see a deer going, jumping at the back. And yeah, it's very cool. It's very refreshing,
It's very
because it's
beautiful.
another way of doing project. And yeah, I think it's a nice evolution. It's still digital, but it uses natural materials, and it's a low-tech way of thinking about the project. And it's still bouncing on the same idea of this projection. And this is me at night with the computer. You see, it's very low-tech. It was raining, so we had to put the laser under the roof, and you can see the computer and the stuff. And because it's a meadow, actually there's a farmer cutting the meadow each year to give the herbs, because she has animals. So we have an exchange. She cuts the meadow, takes the herbs, I don't know the word in English, the herbs, the grass, to give to the beast, and in exchange she gives us some steaks. So yeah, we are not vegetarian.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have some steaks, but it's from the farmer. It's from the farm. So
Yeah.
it's a good deal. The meadow in exchange for steak, and
Yeah.
this was just before cutting the meadow. So we had a short time frame to do this installation. And you see this one iteration. Still me doing the stuff, and this is the final result, because we are shooting on the bamboo canes, but we're also shooting on the meadow. So it's like bamboo canes emerging from a sea of fireflies, burning fireflies.
You have to take a
You cannot look at the laser. It's very bad. Never look at the laser. So, and because it's the meadow and we have this deck, we are and because there is no audience, it's my garden, and my kids and our kids know the laser is dangerous, and it's during the night, so usually they are asleep.
Because the poles were higher, right? Is it over people's head projection?
Yeah. There's one laser there. You can see it, and other laser. Where are the kids? Where the kids are, we put lasers. So there are two levels of laser. One level to make the waves, and one level to shoot at the bamboo canes.
I'm just struck by how beautiful it is to see something so rigid in nature, which is often not straight. Do you know what I mean? There's no question there, but it just feels. And then the wave comes. It's a very it's super original, but.
Is there? And when you program this, actually, you just had a sauna, so you're very relaxed. You know, you're in a towel, you know, very hot because you're out of the sauna, and you can program the laser, you know, with some deep music going on. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Wow. And then you go slow, no stroboscopes. Quiet. Yeah. And then we bounced onto some other project.
This is reminding me of a jellyfish.
It is somehow. So we bounced on this idea of these canes, and we mixed the first one and the second one, and the idea of a sphere, because Vegas came, and the sphere. So how about a sphere? Let's think about the form of a sphere, you know, because we started with cubes, and architecture is all about straight lines, and you know, well, mostly about straight lines, and scaffolding is straight cubes and stuff. And then, okay, we went into the sphere, the spherical pattern, and then, okay, still Unreal Engine, but the sphere can be organic, and we invented a way to program these are LEDs, but we can program them in 3 dimensions to make this kind of volumetric patterns and give the impression of volume in a different way than the Vegas sphere. And then it can be a party place as well. So if we are able to simulate it in a game engine, we know it's going to be the same in reality. So now we just have to find the money.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we thought about the sphere was a very strong pattern. Okay, let's make the sphere with the straight line and use a reflective sphere. So we bought on Alibaba a mirror sphere, and we inflated it in the countryside office, but it exploded because there was no pressure indicator. We inflated too much, and then we heard a boom, so it exploded, and what was left was the inside of the sphere, or like a bubble. So the kids loved it. It's like a giant soap bubble. They could play with it, and we loved it as well. So it's a party night, and we kept the sphere with the fire. Then we bounced on the idea, yes, well, what can we do with it? Hey, we have a smoke machine, so let's put some smoke in it and use the laser to project something, and then the cube is back, and now we have the cube within the sphere. So it's like a loop.
Yeah.
And to answer your very first question, we didn't get this idea under the show, where it was just by doing the project one after the other, and now we're onto this kind of sphere, but the cube is back. So it's like an ongoing process, and I think you just have to find the good places to be creative and give yourself the opportunity to be creative, and
Yeah.
I think it goes like that.
And we were talking earlier about how I mean, it's amazing that you have this space with your colleagues in the countryside, but that's also for the younger aspiring artists, maybe something that you, it's a luxury to be able to afford maybe, but that it's so important to have place with your colleagues that you can make.
I don't think it's a luxury. Actually, I think what's important is everybody earns money, and in this world you have to make money somehow. Even all the more as you have a family, you have to sustain your family. But what is important is what you do with your money, and we have chosen to make a nice space, but not for the audience, for us, for the team, for our friends. So that it's a creative space, and we can invite some people to share ideas with us, and a good space to brainstorm.
Yeah.
And you see this software, this MadMapper software, and of course all the team, the MadMapper team, we do workshop and brainstorming session over there. We do sketches, we program there, then we have a sauna, then we make a fire, and then we have some good idea on how to solve a problem that we have that's programming related.
There seems to be a lot of partying going on at this house. So I do want to talk about MadMapper. So this is for the uninitiated, this is the very successful mapping tool that you guys with some partners created in 2011, which is a commercial software that artists can buy and use for their own work, which has then gone on to become like a very big hit, essentially. So, because am I right in thinking there was a point where you were making a software for every project? That's a huge amount of work. So did you just get done with that and you thought, right, okay, I'm going to make, the one...
We wanted to hire real programmers and professionals, because it's very time-consuming and tiring to do a new software for each for each project. So at some point we thought, hey, why not hire somebody to make a real program and sell it, so that the people who would buy it would pay for the next development and for our next project. So in fact, it's a commercial project, but it's an exchange, because it's a program made by artists for artists. So I see it as an exchange between artists, like they buy my program, but in exchange I give them the opportunity to do cool project for a good price, and by doing that they allow me to do some more project that I will give back to the people who bought it. So it works both ways, and I think that's the way I see it. But I think it's a good way to see development. So I can show you all the softwares. I did the story behind it. So as Olaf said, these were the first Quartz Composer patches, and I learned. I'm architect, so I didn't learn programming, and he wanted an anecdote. And by this time, I was trying to learn Chinese, and Chinese is very difficult to speak, to write. It's really hard. You have to work it hard. And after 6 months, I was really like, wow, Chinese is very difficult. But I also wanted to learn programming, so I went to London because there was a programming workshop. I didn't know anything. I went to London. That's how I met some cool people in the programming and creative coding field. And when I came back, I was really crying because it was so difficult. I didn't get anything. I was like, man, programming is even more difficult than Chinese. And I cannot do both. It's impossible. So I quit learning Chinese. So I still don't know how to speak Chinese. But in the meantime, I learned how to program. And it took me like really a lot of time, because I'm not a programming person like a mathematical person. And maybe for 2 years, every night I wrote the book about programming. And in programming books, you don't learn. They don't teach you how to make art installation. They teach you how to make an accounting software. And making an accounting software is very boring. Trust me. But by the time There was no like tutorials, and the internet was not developed like it is today. And I think today is really easier because you can go straight to the thing you want to do, and there are some people on YouTube teaching you how to make programming for installation, so you don't have to go through the accounting software.
And maybe one day you'll get the Chinese as well.
Maybe one day. But no, they make these apps on the phone, so you just speak French and it speaks Chinese. So what's the point? So I made these plugins, and the very first software I made is a shell around the plugin, like I said, for Etienne's Cube. This is one for the tennis masters in France. So I did the software. I don't know if we have time.
I think this is a good story. So
This
if you have a question, do think of it, and then we have one last story, and then we will come to a close.
So that's the last story. And I did the software, and it's the grand finale. Okay, so it's Nadal versus, I don't know, Federer, maybe somebody very, very high. There was Nadal involved, and we made the software, and I was running the show. Normally it was somebody else, an operator, but for the grand finale, I wanted to do it myself. So I take the control, and there's 20,000 people in the arena. It's the finale. And then I have the intercom, and they said, yeah, it's coming. So I pressed the button of the countdown. There was one button to trigger the countdown. 10, 9, 8, and there's the 20,000 people all screaming, the numbers. And I hear in the intercom, hey, well, what's going on? No, Nadal is going back into his room. He's going to take a shit. And... But the countdown was going. There was no way to stop it. And the guys were really mad because to organize something like that, maybe there's 100 people on the intercom, all at a specific role, and they were all crazy. So the next year, I programmed a button to stop the countdown in case. So
Good.
This is also some other program for parties, the boombox parties. Which evolved in 2 versions. So you see, it looks a bit also like Mad Mapper, the thumbnails, each one, it's like a song or a way or to some kind of visuals, or maybe it looks like Resolume or the grid back in the day. This is another software that I made to control lights, moving lights, and this is the idea to use a picture to control moving lights, because moving lights, they move in pan, in tilt, and they have the zoom, but hey, my pictures is RGB. And what I know as a visual artist is to handle pictures. So I can make contrast, I can invert, I can do this and that, I can blur. So we thought, hey, why not use the RGB of the picture to plug it into the pan, tilt, and zoom of a light fixture? And in fact, a difficult problem would end up being very easy to handle, because I was just sending pictures to the moving lights. And these moving lights are, I think it's 10 by 5, or 10 by 5, so it's a 10 by 5 pixel. So this is very lightweight. So to run a show on a 10 by 5 pixel image, today everybody wants 4K, but I was running 10 by 5, so even a bad computer could handle the show. So it was very, very fun to do and very lightweight, so not taxing on the computer. And it was also sending visuals on the LED screen. So it was moving lights and visuals sent on an LED screen all together. Very fun to do. This is another one that I did, same spirit, but for this, I added a cheat chart. So I had the DMX addresses and the help file, the PDF already included into the file, into the program. So whenever you come at a venue and they don't speak English or it's complicated, you just open that window and it's very easy for them to understand and to make it with you. Another one, so connected to Ableton Live. This was very, very complicated by the time, because it was the first program I did to do 6 screens together. So, but this was almost 15 years ago. And it was very complicated to do 6 screens together, connected to Ableton Live by MIDI. Whew, and at some point, I was like, it's too much work, cannot do this. Okay, let's make a commercial software. This is what we do with the other software. So it's like as architect, you know, AutoCAD. So you're drawing on paper, and this is the same, but you're drawing directly on the space. Today, it feels like it's very easy, and all the software can do this. But back in the days, there was no software to do this, so we had to invent it. And this software had no undo, so you had to do it good the first time because there was no undo. Undo needs some programming. There was no undo, so yeah. And we had one night to do everything. So we had to be sure it would work. So it was very, very stressed. And it was raining, and there was problems, electrical problems, a real mess. So we said, no, I cannot rely on my own software. I have to hire like proper programmers, real people. You can program it. And that's how we made Mad Mapper. So it's
Great.
by artist. For artists, because a lot of software they are for engineers, complicated.
Yeah.
This one is for artists.
Yeah, great, thank you. We have a question in the front.
Yeah, just curious right now. Do you have a rough estimate about how many people use MadMap around the world?
I don't know. We could put trackers, and we could, check with the servers and stuff. But that's also a lot of work, and I don't know. Actually, I don't know, but not that much. I know Ableton Live. They have 1,600,000 users. We are not to the level of Ableton Live. No, much smaller.
Do we have anyone else who would like to ask something? If not, you can always ask in the drink later on. I think we have to draw to a we have one more.
I was wondering, in your earlier project, you sold the software so the artist could like tour with it. How did you package it? Like how do you prevent like what was it written in? Like how do you give it to someone?
Actually, we didn't sell the software. We sold the concept. Yeah, and if you want the story behind it, actually, we could have asked the artist a flat fee for us to work. Okay, you want to show, it's that price. Okay, he pays and then put the software on the computer, and he goes. And we said no, there is no flat fee. There is a risk. We take the risk, so we want a percentage of the show that you sell. So if the show is successful, we'll be successful, we'll make money. If it's not successful, you won't lose any money. So we made that deal. So the deal was that, and then we took his computer, we put the software on it, and end of the story. No, the door was closed. Yeah, no, the door was closed. So he was sending MIDI from his MPC to the software, and the MIDI was triggering video files. That's it, and he couldn't change anything. So the door was closed.
Good. So great. We have to draw to a close now. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to invite Joachim to come up here and tell you about more exciting things.
Yeah, I
You have
have
one
one last thing.
Sure. Go.
Because now we are version 5, and actually next week,
yeah.
for those of you who know this software, and I'm very, very happy to say this, we are running and launching the public beta of version 6, where we have the timeline feature. So for those of you who know After Effects, After Effects is within the software, and you can make these timelines, but it's also like Ableton Live. So for those of you who know Ableton Live, you can actually trigger After Effects-like sequences in an Ableton Live way in real time. It's going to be great. It took us maybe 2 years to develop this. many brainstorms at my countryside office.
In the sauna. Yeah.
Many fires, many steaks, many saunas, many discussions.
Wonderful. I think there's lots of excited audience members here. You have a question?
Question, and it's maybe for the last to summarize all. But like hearing the previous projects that you did in the past and now that like all of those softwares, do you think for you as like an artist it's important to solve problems or like to talk about the problems that are now or like from the past also?
I wouldn't have the pretension to say that I can solve problems. It's just to give your views about this problem, and maybe people will bounce on that. But like just taking a subject and bouncing on that. Yeah, I see it that way, and I think the audience what they want, what they like about artists is that maybe they see problems in another way, or they give another perspective to what they are used to know and see, and that's for me that's what's important. I don't know if that answers your question.
You can also chat more. We're going to continue the evening. I'm going to invite you to come up, Joachim, and
the final thing. Yeah, because we have an exhibition opening in Paris in 2 weeks. It stays for 7 months. It's called Pulse. I don't have any pictures because we're in work in progress. We're in a rush, but take some notes. If you pass by Paris, there is an exhibition over there that lasts for 7 months.
Yeah.
Till July. So
in Paris.
In Paris, Gaieté Lyrique.
Ah oui. Joachim.
Thank you.
Francois.
Yes, so I was promising to be back. I was also going to sell his exposition. So now I don't need to anymore, so now I can just talk about our own stuff, which is very good. Like I said in the beginning, we will be back with another artist talk. When exactly, we're not sure. Spring 2025, somewhere. Just keep in touch. Keep an eye out on us. Then we have 2 other things I want to discuss. The first one is, if I'm not mistaken, is WERC in progress. Yes, that's good. Which is a new concept we're developing, in which we actually play around with new ideas, new processes, new experiments, and we share them with you at one night. We play around with one project, and we share the entire process that we made in the entire weeks in front of that, in all the things that we ran into, all the mistakes we made, and also all the good things happened, all the software, all the tutorials we followed, all this stuff. The first one will be about AR graffiti, which the first little test you can already see in the front. And then the last thing I want to talk about is WERC Portal. Every day at the Groningen Forum here, there is a big LED screen, and we invite every artist to send in a video of their work for 1 minute, and then every day for a minute it will be seen on the screen. Now only at noon, maybe it's showing here, but it'll be, we're discussing what times exactly. It's running right now at the moment, only at noon, but we're changing times probably. So if you want to send something in, we have a QR code for the next thing. So this is if you want to join the work in progress. It's March the 20th. So we'll leave it up for now for everybody who's interested while we're having a little party. And this is for WERC Portal. So if you want send in a video, go to the website, fill in everything, send in your video, and we'll let you know when it's being shown. Thank you, and have some fun the rest of the night.
Yes, thank you. Yes, have a drink.